Okay, so this is going to be a short instructional video on how we can do some basic formatting to a Word document. We're going to look at how we can justify text, we're going to look at how we can make headings bold, we're going to look at adding a footer to the document, and we're also going to check our spelling and our grammar. So we're going to do all those things to this document, Music and Young Minds. The first thing we're going to look at is justifying the text. Now, at the minute, this text is left justified, which means the text has all been pushed across to the left edge of the sheet of paper. Okay? So you've got a nice straight edge of text down here, but on the right hand side over here, you have this raggedy edge. Okay? Now we're going to play with how we justify it, and it's a fair size of an article. There's 2 pages to it. And as I'm sure you know, you could either click and drag to select the whole lot, like that, or, and you may not know this, you can select it by clicking this thing here, select all, and it's highlighted the entire article, which is great if you've got a really long document and you want to highlight everything. Saves all that clicking and dragging. So we've highlighted the whole thing. Let's play with the formatting. As you said already, it's left justified, it's pushed across the left. One you will all know already is center justified. We use this a lot on posters and things like that. But we can also right justify it. It's not used very often, but if we look at this now, we've right justified it, and what you can see is that the words have all been pushed across to the right hand side, so you've got this lovely straight edge down the right hand side of the sheet of paper, and on the left side you've now got a raggedy edge. Alright? And there's a fourth one. There's this one here. Oh, by the way, this is very rarely used. You don't often see this. Okay, this right justification. Generally speaking, things are left justified, or sometimes if you read newspapers and things, I've just selected it all again, you'll see this one, and this is called justify or fully justified. And what it does is it spreads the writing out so that you've got a nice straight edge down the left and also a nice straight edge down the right as well. So it looks more like a newspaper or a magazine article. So that's justifying. Okay, nice and simple. You can select all your text and you can either left justify, center justify, right justify, or justify the whole thing, full justification. Okay? Alright, the next thing I'm going to look at then is how we make headings bold. It's something you probably know. Here's a heading, and if we select it and we'll look up here this time, we can see that it's not bold. And we know the reason we know it's not bold is because the B for bold isn't highlighted. If I click it once, there you go. It's now highlighted and the text has went to bold. If we switch the highlighting off by clicking the B again, we switch off the bold feature. Okay, so B's highlighted, it's bold. B's not highlighted, it's not bold. But we want to make all of this bold, or all of the headings anyway. Here's a heading: Music is academic. It's a heading, and below it, this paragraph here explains more about this heading, but we just want the heading to be bold. So highlight the heading, click on the B. Here's another heading: Music is physical. Click on the B. And if we click on this last one, oh no, there's 2. Music is emotional. Click on the B. And if we click on Music is for life, click on the B. We've made all of the headings in the article bold. So it draws your eye to it. It's quite a nice way of making them stand out a bit, which is brilliant. And for some bizarre reason, we have an empty third page here. We'll just get rid of that. Okay, so we've justified our text. It's looking really nice. We've got our headings nice and bold. That's lovely. What we'd like to do now, though, is to put a footer in the bottom of the page. And a footer is a piece of text or information that appears on every page. So you type it in once to the footer, and it's there on every page. How do you get into the footer? Well, as you probably know, there's a few ways to do everything on these things, but the simplest way is just double click in the bottom of the page and you enter the footer section here, and all I'm going to put in is my name, and I think I'll put in today's date as well. There you go. And to get out of the footer again, all you could do, there's 2 ways again. All you can do is double click up here on the main body of the article, or this handily placed button here, close header and footer, close it. That's us back into the main bit of the text. We can now start to play with this stuff again, but our footer is there and it's safe. We can't click on it. The only way you can click on it is by double clicking. Okay? But we'll come back out of there. And as you can see at the bottom of this page, there's that same footer. It's the same footer that appears at the foot of each page. You can set it up so it shows different footers on different pages, but we don't need to know that at this particular level. All we need to know is how to put in a footer, and that's how you do it. Double click in the bottom, add your information. Whoops. I really can't type today. And then come out your footer by closing it. There you go. Alright, so the last thing we're going to check is spelling and grammar. Now, most of you will know that if you right click on a word that's spelt incorrectly, and you can tell it's spelt wrongly because it's got this red wavy line below it, when you right click it comes up with the things that it think it should be. Okay? And that's fine. You can absolutely do that and correct the mistakes. However, if you had a really long article, that's going to take you a long time to do. So there's an easier way, as I'm sure you'd imagine. And you find that up here. If you click on Review, because you're going to review your work, and then you click on Spelling and Grammar, what it does is it tells Word to look through the article from the start to the end, looking for mistakes. And it's found a spelling mistake here. It tells us up here it's a spelling mistake, and it's the one we know about, movement. We know that's been spelled wrong. We could tell it was spelled wrong. And again, it's come up with the same two suggestions that we had before, the word movement or the word moment. Well, it's movement we want. So you click on it once, and then click change. What it done was it changed it, and then it moved to the next thing. Now, the next mistake is a grammar mistake. Now, my advice at this level is just ignore those just now. It's not that there's anything wrong with them, it's just that sometimes they can give you advice that you don't really understand. For example, passive voice, consider revising. Now it does give you some information down here about how you can do that, but my advice just now is just ignore it. If it's grammar, just ignore it. Okay, and there's another grammatical error because I put two spaces between is and a when I put my footer in. It's saying that's wrong, and it is, technically speaking, it's correct. However, we're just going to ignore it. And we'll ignore that one as well. And eventually, once you've moved through all of your spelling and grammar checks, it'll tell you, right, we've done it, we've completed it. It's done everything you've asked it to do. And if we go back up to our misspelled word, there we are. So there you go. Nice and simple, and we've got that by going up to review and spelling and grammar. So a short video looking at justifying text, looking at making headings bold, adding our footer, and doing a spelling and grammar check. Hope it's been useful, and I hope you use these little tips as you're creating your own Word documents later on. Bye now.